Welcome to Nevada Week. I'm Amber Renee Dixon. We'll discuss the state of Southern Nevada's all-important convention and trade show industry ahead. But first, an interview with U.S. Senator Jacky Rosen, whose Omnibus Travel and Tourism Act created the first ever federal position fully dedicated to coordinating tourism strategy across the federal government. The position that the Omnibus Travel and Tourism Act creates, first off, I was surprised to learn that it didn't already exist. Were you surprised?
Really surprised. And you know, when the global pandemic hit and we realized how every impact of our society, every part of our society was impacted, and of course here in Nevada, we know that tourism is the top of economic driver for us. Las Vegas Strip shut down and all the subsequent businesses, our conventions shut down. What an impact it had on us. And we had no one who was overseeing a national strategy. Now we hope we don't have a global pandemic again, but we still have to think about what does that mean? Transportation, workforce, immigration, visas, international travel. There's so many other things. Of course, even moving goods around. You want to go to a fabulous restaurant wherever you go on vacation? Well, that food has to come from somewhere. It has to get here. And you have to think about what that means. And so this person, this new person, whoever it will be, will work with the president, the administration, to try to gather some good names to give to him to nominate. They'll set the foundation for this role. And we're hoping that they create a short-term strategy and then a long-term strategy as we begin to build out broadband, really important for tourism, right? The Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, investing heavily in broadband. I was part of that committee that helped write it, the 22, and airports and broadband were my piece. So it is really important that we have good broadband, especially in our rural areas. You want to go to, we're here in Las Vegas, but you want to go to see some of the darkest skies in Nevada, ride that SkyTrain. You want to be able to book that or book your travel anywhere. You need internet.
So is it accurate to say that this position was created out of COVID?
Well, I think we realized the need for one person to kind of coordinate all pieces and parts. And so I think that COVID really just highlighted the need that it should come from not many departments in many areas, but have one person to kind of oversee and coordinate with all of that. So the coordination, I think, is what came out of COVID, yes.
And how does this act help Las Vegas, which already has the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, arguably one of the more powerful public agencies promoting tourism in the country?
So let's talk about international tourism. We know that that lagged. Of course, I helped work with the president to be sure that we got that COVID, the restriction of international travel, the COVID vaccination coming through, that was instrumental for our international travelers to come back, bringing them not just for regular vacations, but that helps our convention business as you speak about the Las Vegas Convention Authority. And so international travel, visa wait times, that's another huge issue for people to come in. So I think that'll be one thing that really helps Las Vegas, international travel, visa wait times. Another thing that will help, speaking of international travel, is we have a one-stop security pilot program. And so what does that mean? It means if you come in from, I'll say a major airport like in London or Paris, it's a trusted airport, you want to come here, you have to change planes, your bags will already come straight through to your destination. That's going to create a better customer experience for people. And of course, your travel begins the minute you leave the door. So whether it's how you get to your airport or your train or your bus, however you go, how your bags get there, how you get there, all of that matters. So that's one thing we'll be focusing on right away.
In the case of what just happened with Southwest Airlines, their turmoil during the holidays and after, would this act have addressed that?
You know, I had another bill that was signed into law called the Tourism Act, and that calls on the Department of Transportation, and now it's Secretary Buttigieg, to report to us about their strategy in the transportation sector as it relates to tourism. I know that Secretary Buttigieg is going to be looking into this. Of course, I'm on the Commerce Committee. I'm the chair of the subcommittee for tourism. I'll be working with Chairwoman Cantwell, trying to determine what we have to look at for the transparency of this going forward. So again, this doesn't happen again. What happened was, I guess, the perfect storm because it happened all across the country. It wasn't a regional outbreak, it wasn't a regional disaster, and some airlines weren't prepared, and they have to be responsible.
The LVCVA and the Nevada Resort Association both supported this act, but both have mentioned when talking about Nevada's recovery from the pandemic that business travel is still an area that is lagging. How would this legislation help in that area?
Well, I think you have to look at business sectors. So that a lot of that, of course, is the conventions that come in. We're one of the top convention destinations, I don't have to tell you. I would argue that businesses, it's great to do things on Zoom and conference call and all of that, but there's nothing like being together in person to exchange ideas, to create and collaborate and create new partnerships. So I think that we're going to have to look with the Department of Transportation and, of course, this new Assistant Secretary in Commerce to see how we can make sure that business travel stays robust. It's important, not just to Las Vegas, but I will tell you that the top 5 economic drivers of probably every state in this country, one of them is tourism.
And what work remains to improve travel and tourism that perhaps you'll be pursuing this legislative session?
We're going to investigate and look a little bit about what we can do about the airline situation. Of course, as we saw over the holidays, a lot of those cancellations and bags and travel distress. And I really want to be sure that as we build out the bipartisan infrastructure Jobs Act that we had that invested all that money in infrastructure, that what we're building is smart and it's connected, and that we have that good broadband base, that our airports are expanding and that they're safer, that our freeways, whatever they are, have that, we'll say broadband again, that Wi-Fi that connects for accident reporting, for travel times, all of those things. So I hope that as we continue to build out our infrastructure, we're smarter and more connected, and that's going to make not just tourism better, but it's going to make our everyday lives better.